Well, hello and welcome to Kudum Knife You Don't Need, a division of Wooden What You Don't Need, and today we're going to have a look at this knife, which is inside here. Now, I feel that in my previous knives videos, I have neglected my country, which is Italy, by giving too much space, probably, to knives from other countries, primarily France. And so today it's going to be an episode about an Italian traditional knife. I think this is the first Italian traditional knife that has been featured on the channel. And today's knife is the Coltello Bergamasco. Coltello means knife in Italian. Serra manico means, well, serra is close, manico is handle, so where you close your blade in the handle. And Bergamasco means from the city of Bergamo, which is in Lombardy, in the north of Italy. It is one of those areas of Italy where they speak a dialect which is very hard to understand if you are not a native. Bergamasco dialect is kind of hard. And I, despite being from the north and speaking dialect, I cannot understand people from Bergamo when they speak dialect very fast. There you have it. Let's have a look at the features of this knife. The blade Lama is a carbon blade, which is the kind of blade that I prefer for the funny reason that it needs maintenance. So I like to care for my blades and keep them rust free. The handle, manico, is in boxwood, bosso. Now, boxwood is a wood that I like a lot. If you're not familiar with well, it's not a tree actually, it's more of a bush or of a shrub it comes from. It's a beautiful shrub and it's an evergreen shrub, but the leaves are not like the leaves of a pine or of a spruce tree. They are actually tiny, roundish leaves, and the shrub or the bush of the box is really beautiful in my opinion. And you can see that the color and the grain and the wood grain of this handle is more on the light brown or almost yellow side. The grain is quite subtle, not as pronounced as the one of olive wood, as we have seen in a previous video featuring 3 knives with olive wood handles. And it's very simple, this kind of handle design and construction. This is a very, very nice locking system. It's a traditional, of course, nice locking system. It says brevettato, which means patented. It can remind us a bit of the Opinel system of locking the blade open, only that it does not have a turning virole as the Opinel knives have. It has more of a latch which you unfasten in order to open the blade, and then you fasten, and it secures mainly by friction on this collar. This, I don't know what kind of metal this is, might be brass, and it is secured here. Now this is one of those knives that I keep just for, well, display or just to have a look at it every once in a while. So I have never used it, as you can see from the almost immaculate blade and also handle. So I don't really know how secure this locking system is, but you know, by trying to close it, exerting quite an amount of force, I can tell you that this thing is not going to close. It's not going to close that easily. The brand of this particular knife is Codega and Codega, and then it says Premana. I'm not sure you can find this knife anywhere else but in Italy. I bought it on a regional product market. There were products from all the region of Italy, and of course I had to buy a knife. Let's have a look at some measurements. The overall length is a bit longer than I'm used to. So it's 21 and almost 21 centimeters, which is 8 and 8.2 inches. For a blade length of a bit more than 3.5 inches of blade length, which means a bit more than 9 centimeters of blade length. The blade, as you can see, is thicker than that of an Opinel knife, and let me grab an Opinel number 8, which is maybe the most standard model. So this is an Opinel number 8. I have modified this knife. I carved it a bit here. I sanded off all the original varnish, just, you know, to have fun with that knife. And this is a number 8, probably the most common Opinel knife, and you can see that the Bergamasco knife, this one, the Italian one, is a bit bigger, and that the blade, I hope you can appreciate, is a bit thicker. It's a bit thicker. This one, of course, the one on the Bergamasco knife, is not stainless steel, so it will rust if you don't keep it clean and dry, whereas on this particular model of Opinel, the blade is stainless steel, inox. Let's have a look at the weight. Now, whereas the Opinel weighs 48 grams, the Bergamasco knife weighs 70. So it is bigger and heavier. As far as the locking system, I think this holds the blade closed in a more secure way than the Opinel.
Sometimes, if you pop it really hard, I don't want to try it, but can you see that when I'm prying it, a bit of the roll here is already lifting. So I've tried and managed to open it with the blade blocked a couple of times, maybe with gloves. So it could happen. Okay. Whereas with this one, it just doesn't go farther than this. See, it's not moving here.
So I think that when in closed position, this one is a bit more secure, but that's really nothing you could care about. I think this is a beautiful knife. It's a nice variation from the classical Opinel shape. The locking process is a bit more, just a bit more complicated than that of an Opinel knife. It has this feature that I like in the handle, which is more ergonomic, in my opinion. I like to have this sort of stop for your pinky finger. It's kind of a bigger handle, so you can hold it better. This was used as I think as a shepherd's knife primarily. You know, a knife for the outdoor, as most knives are. This is not a kitchen knife, of course. What can I say? Even the smell of this boxwood handle is very pleasant. And yeah, I think this is a beautiful knife. Yeah, I maybe should use it one day or another, but I like to keep it pristine looking. This is it for today's episode of Wooden Knife You Don't Need, a division of Wooden Watch You Don't Need, and I'll see you on the next. Ciao!